go throughout this because I may not cover everything, right? If something's burning in your heart that you want to know, feel free. We'll open up some space at the end that you can raise your hand and ask a question.
Can you, Professor, introduce yourselves because students here have not had you all. So
okay.
So
if you haven't had me, can you throw your hand up real quick? If you've never seen me before.
Oh,
okay, hi.
sorry. I misunderstood the question.
3 people. Okay. So I'm Dr. Barnes, Dr. Japera Barnes, and I have been teaching as an adjunct professor online for the last couple of years. So some of you may have seen me on Zoom, right? That's where you guys get to know me. And so I'm here on campus now, y'all. Right down the hall from Dr. Cooper and Professor Mitchell. So I'm in room, what room is that? It's like 328 or something like that. But if you want to come by and see me, feel free to do so. But yes, I am an assistant professor here in the HIIM program.
And
I was sitting in this seat not too long ago. I remember coming to class here, y'all, having Professor Dr. Reeves and all kinds of folks that I don't really remember the content that they was teaching me because I was totally disconnected as a student. I'll be honest, okay? Wasn't into it that much at all, but I made it through. I made it through. Had to leave and come back and do all of that. But we made it through. All right, so it's been an awesome journey. It's been very rewarding. I've met a lot of awesome people through this experience. So that's a little bit about me.
let us take a pause. We just had our dean to come.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everyone?
Good.
I see some familiar faces. This is a great day to be back on the Hill. How many of you know that?
Yes.
If you missed me by a week, I would ask you for dollars. So, but nevertheless, welcome back to the Hill. We're looking forward to a great event that Dr. Cooper and her team have set up for you. And they are excited to have you here. I met some of you on the elevator and I told you you were in for a treat today. This is great as we need our alums and stakeholders involved in our programs to ensure that our students are receiving current information and what's happening in the field. Because I know things have changed in the field since you have graduated, and I know things are going to continue to change. And with you bringing your expertise and your experience back to the Hill to tell our students what's new and how to navigate the newest technology and software that I know some of you have to deal with. So we're glad that you're here. We welcome you back. Welcome back to you, Dr. Cooper. I think I remember you from the program. So welcome back to the Hill. So I am excited. I always get excited when I see alums, specifically those who were here when I was here. I've been here since 2001. So I know some of your faces because you've come through since then. So I'm glad that you're here. And please do not hesitate to tell Dr. Cooper and her team how we can also assist you while you're in the field. So thank you, welcome, and enjoy your workshop. Thank you.
So Professor Mitchell is going to introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. I am Professor Takia Mitchell, and I am the assistant professor as well as clinical coordinator here at FAMU within the Health Informatics and Information Management program. I am a alum, 2011 alum. I have some of my wonderful people that graduated with me here. And I've been here about 5 years, and it has been a blast. I love my students. They know they have a special place in my heart. And I also love my site supervisors because you all are the foundation of the experience that our students have. And we love our advisory board. Anyone that's not on the advisory board, please see our advisory chair here, Ms. Rodriguez, so that we can add you to our advisory board. And thank you all for coming.
Yay! Woo! We're waiting on our other panelists to join, so we're going to pause y'all for just a quick second. And can we get like introductions from the other professionals and alumni who are here in the room, and then we're going to turn to our panelists, if that's okay. So you want to start?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, I'm going to shake off my baby in the room. Introduction, let's get started number it. Greetings, I am Gabrielle Hibber. I used to be EMT when I was here. A graduated in 2013 from the Hill. It's a wonderful honor and privilege to be with you all today. I currently live in Orlando, Florida, but I ducked out of work just to make it back within 4 days' notice. I would love and appreciate if when we get to the other room, if you all can come up and talk to me, ask any questions, write them down now as the people are speaking, and I would love to share my information. I own my own consulting firm, and I'm also a professor of HIT in Orlando, Florida.
Woo! Who's next in our
Attorney Stroud.
Good morning, everyone. I am Odell Stroud, and I serve as the director for the Division of Healthcare Management. Two-time graduate of FAMU, School of Business, College of Law. I'm not going to say it because I have to start with 19 something. I'm not going to say how long ago I graduated, but it's truly inspiring to see you all here and take heed to what they tell you because it's very important. And like I told, we had an event yesterday. Relationships and connections will get you in more rooms than talent. All right? So remember that. So move around the room, get to know these people, and get connected. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rudy Williams. I'm a professor here in the Division of Health Science, actually. First time graduate of Florida, so welcome back.
Good morning, everyone. I am Tamara Rodriguez. I am an alum of this very program. I graduated in 2011, and I am currently an application analyst at UF Health in Gainesville, Florida, and I also serve as your adjunct instructor. I teach health information systems and health informatics. And I'm chairing the advisory board this term.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Francesca Philomene. I am based out of Gainesville, Florida. I am currently a healthcare administrator at University of Florida. I graduated in 2014, and I'm also an adjunct professor at St. Pete College.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tony Lord. I'm from Orlando, Florida. I'm currently in Gainesville. I just graduated last summer. I'm currently in HIMD in training with Parallon at the HCA in Gainesville. Dual careers, I'm doing that, and then I'm also a lieutenant in the military, so all military students come talk to me.
Good morning, everyone. I am Prasanna Pollock. I am a 2024 graduate from the HIIM program. I am currently a fraud analyst for the state of Florida.
We have some other professionals here. I would like for them to introduce themselves. Don't look around, Ms. Johnson. Miranda. No, ma'am. I was going to give you a last name.
Good morning, my name is Miranda Johnson, and my sister, Kia, is on the panel. And my baby sister here, we are all Rattlers. I graduated in, a long time ago, 2002. I have a degree in healthcare management. I am currently a program administrator with the Bureau of Medicaid Quality with the state of Florida.
All right. Okay. Oh, Professor Yes. Introduce yourself. We need to know who you are.
I'm Bernard Smothers. I have a degree in
physical therapy, healthcare management, and how many more other ones? Retired Army veteran, Navy, I'm sorry, Navy veteran. Retired state employee. He's our simulation director as well. He's our simulation lab director.
Absolutely. And Professor Smothers will be doing some tours throughout the day for us. If anyone's interested in touring our simulation lab. So that'll be some time available for that if you would like to see it. Those who have never seen it. All right, then I heard that people want to just look around anyways and see some new stuff. See if anything has changed since the last time they were here. April, I ain't gonna copy that. But if that's the case, if I want to join April on touring the campus, then feel free to do so. I think Professor Smuggers may be open to that as well. Perfect, y'all. So we're gonna turn to our panelists and panelists, y'all introduce yourselves.
I'll start. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jared Cotton. I'm also a professor, adjunct professor in the program. I work as a senior IT analyst at Talis Memorial Healthcare. I also serve on the governing board for the program. I'm from Quincy, Florida, so I think somebody lives from Quincy. And I graduated in 2016, spring 2016. So happy to be here to give you guys some feedback on my career, my experience, and my journey through my career up until this point. So happy to be here.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Lindsay Hayes, and I am the Director of Health Information Management at HCA Florida Capital Hospital. I graduated in 2018, and originally from Miami, Florida. And just glad to be here with you guys, and bestow some knowledge on you guys on how to transition from a student into the profession.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janice White. I graduated in summer of 2008. I currently am in a role of HIM Data Integrity Director with the company called Community Health Systems out of Franklin, Tennessee. Excited to be here and share my experiences and hopefully get to know some of you all and hopefully one day hire everyone.
Greetings, Rattlers. My name is Lakia Lamb. I am the HIM Director for ACA Carolina, Florida Oviedo Medical Center. I am a 2019 graduate of the program, and I came back in 2023 to get my master's in health administration. And so I love FAMU. Most importantly, I love HIM. He was my professor. She was my professor. I've talked to him multiple times as, in all types of professional development classes. Lindsay is my colleague, and so is Tanique Lord, and so I'm very happy to be here with you all, and please come ask me questions, and welcome.
Awesome. And then we also have a virtual panelist joining us. Welcome, Tyree. Please give us an introduction.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, Rattlers. My name is Curry Anderson. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. All right, sorry I couldn't join you guys in person, but I am currently working in Jersey. I am a I guess I can't call myself recent anymore. I graduated back in 2024, same year with Ms. Drew, with a bachelor's in health information management. I now work currently at Atlantic Health as an ethics and credential trainer. I'm here just to introduce myself, kind of hopefully you guys a little bit of a light on how internships or fellowships can turn to many possible jobs in the future for you guys.
Perfect, thank you so much. Welcome. So again, y'all, real quick announcement. If you have questions that come to your mind as we go throughout this day or throughout this session, I'm gonna leave some time, y'all. I'm gonna leave some time at the end, but they're questions, all right? Because we want to get those in too. So y'all ready for the first question for our panelists? Yes. All right, so we don't like mix this up. I don't think all of y'all will answer the same question. We just kind of mix it up. So I'm gonna start with Tyreek. Tyreek, we're gonna go to you first for the first question. What's something you wish someone told you before your very first HIM job, but they didn't tell you?
Something that I wish somebody had told me. So now this is probably gonna see a little bit, maybe not as, maybe it seems like a little funny at first, but going ahead and investing in yourself, not only for soft skills trainings, but also investing in your clothes and attire beforehand, because as you transition from your more student role, you will be in a professional area or professional spaces where you will need to dress professionally constantly. So go ahead and start to change your attire, beef up your wardrobe with more professional clothes because, again, I'm sure you guys have mentioned, I'm sure Dr. Cooper spoke to you guys in their professional development class. If you want to dress for the jobs and roles that you want to seek in the future, and coming to your jobs, dress professionally, dressing well, just especially when it's the first time that people are meeting you, it completely changes your experience. So one thing that I felt like I didn't personally know beforehand, or really it didn't really settle with me, is beefing up my professional wardrobe, at least in that context.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you so much, Tyreek. So anybody else want to jump in on that? I'll give somebody a chance to kind of say what's something that you wish someone told you before your very first job that you were not aware of.
Yeah, I would say my first job was an IT analyst, and I supported the HIM department. Nobody told me that you expect to be an expert. So nobody cares that you're a recent college graduate. As soon as you get that job, the expectation is that you know what you're talking about. So, but I think the program did well, knowing how to talk the language, how to talk about J-code and different accreditation bodies, and work with the HIM team on like how they want to build a system. But from your peers that don't know anything about HIM, you're going to be SME for that. So just be prepared for that when you step into your SME. Subject matter expert.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, good. So we're going to jump to the next question. I'm going to turn to Janice for this question. Janice, you ready for it? All right, she's ready. She's ready. Okay. What did your day-to-day reality look like in your very first HIM position? Let me pause right here, because this whole panel session is about first jobs and internships and reality checks, okay? We're going to keep it real in this moment. Is that all right? Yeah. All right, good. So Janice, what would you say in your day-to-day, your first job, what did that day-to-day reality look like in your first position versus what you imagined it would be while you was in school and reading the textbooks and coming to class?
Kind of what you're saying, they expect you to study to be the SME. What I thought it was going to be is like just walking in the same way you did in school. Just kind of continuation of that. It's completely different because now you're kind of in the big leagues, right? Everybody that you're talking to from day to day, they've already been in that position. It's day one for you, but they've been in it 5-10 years, so now you have the jitters, asking the questions and wanting to learn, and not everybody's going to be on your side. So you just have to have that expectation of getting to know the job yourself, getting to expand your knowledge, talking to people, learning people. That's a big one. Learning people, because again, everybody's not for you.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Lakeita, you ready for your question?
I suppose.
Okay, hold on. We got some.
I'm sorry, panelists. Can I interject when I feel I have something to contribute?
Maybe. Come on, we'll let you. Go ahead.
Okay. So Dr. Marjorie McNeil, who was the dean of the program in 2013. Director of the program when I graduated in 2013. She actually, those emails that they send out about who's hiring, that's how I got my first role. It was a per diem HIM specialist role at Select Specialty Hospital, which is a long-term acute care facility. So it checked the boxes because it was a hospital, right? I was surprised that it was in a dungeon. It was locked behind closed doors. I didn't expect that. I thought I was going to be rolled out the red carpet in the beautiful hall. No, HIM is locked away somewhere in the back behind lock and key. So that was surprising. I was surprised it was per diem, so it was as needed. So I started off just like 20 hours a week, but I was open and excited. I had passed my RHIA, so I was excited to learn, so I took the role. Well, the beautiful thing is that within 4 months, the HIM director left for maternity leave. Guess who was now the new HIM director? So a per diem opportunity, right, as a specialist, in 4 months, quick learning turned into an HIM manager and leader. I was 20-something years old on the executive team, sorry to mention, I was the only black person, the only female. A lot of the things that the program is preparing you for, that's what it was. And so within a year, you know, I transitioned to a higher HIM role in Orlando, Florida. So I left, you know, the city. But that first role started off so small, but it quickly, the opportunity, as long as you're prepared, the opportunity will meet you, and then it can quickly turn into something else.
I love that. That's good. That's good. Right. You jumped in with some good nuggets there. Thank you so much for sharing. All right. You ready for your question, ma'am? Okay. So what's one mistake you made early on, very early on, that actually ended up helping your career in the long run, when you look back over your life and you think things on?
It's a long look. That's a long look. I would say the first mistake I made was thinking that it was going to be exactly how I envisioned it. When you're here, you envision it one way, and when you get into the field, it's completely different. And so my first opportunity in HIM was at a mental health facility as a lead HIM specialist, and it was all paper medical records. And for me, that was like going back into the Flintstone ages. Coming from here, we learned how to build systems. And so to go back to paper, it really, I was taken back by that. So I think that was my biggest mistake, is envisioning that it would be, you know, I was just gonna be a HIM princess.
Oh.
And it wasn't, it was nothing.
Okay. So did that help you though in the future?
It did, because it allowed me to see the evolution of HIM and where it came from, you know, so it was the basis of the foundation for me, for sure.
Lovely, perfect. So that's good. Okay, what about you, Lindsay? So what's a hidden skill in HIM? A hidden skill in HIM or HIIM that students don't realize they need until they own the job? Then just hit them in the face.
Man, I would just say Excel, just knowing how to just work the Microsoft Office, just understanding the Microsoft Office and Excel spreadsheets and pivot tables. Those are skills. I know we had, coming up, we had a computer class. We did. Man, take that computer class seriously.
Don't go to sleep.
Yeah, those are little things you definitely need in HIM, just being able to analyze data and organize it in a way that, you know, easily distribute to others.
Okay, so Microsoft and doing all those applications. Tyreek, you want to jump in on that? Do you have a skill that you think is a hidden skill that HIM students need to know about, but they don't get surprised? They get surprised by it once they get on the job and figure it out.
Yeah, I was going to jump on what you were saying, like the Microsoft Office, knowing how to use all of the Microsoft Office products, or at least the most popular ones, are 100% essential. And honestly, just keeping to try and need to like keep update on those skills. So yes, we go to computer class, but you know, Office updates or Microsoft Excel updates all the time. So you do want to make sure that you are keeping up those skills and like staying with the updates as well. So as new things roll out, you're still with those skills. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so supporting Lindsay there. Okay. You want to jump in? Sure.
So one thing I would add is, what they're talking about is technical skills, right? But one thing that Tariq mentioned earlier was soft skills. How you work with people. You're going to be working in groups all the time. How you collaborate, how you socialize in the workplace. And some people may take socialization and say, okay, you're just sitting at somebody's desk all day and not doing your job. But truly how you connect with people and build relationships and add value to say, okay, what challenge you have in your department. It may have some overlap, let's work on this together, and that's going to take you a long way as you continue to want to move up in the organization. If you show your marketability and your ability to work and collaborate with people outside your department, I think that's going to take you a long way. Also, inside your department, as assistant director, there's a lot of drama that happens. So it's like, how do you manage and work through that and you not be part of the drama, right? So that's what I would say, soft skills. And I got mine from working in customer service. I worked at Belt, I worked at Dillard's, I worked at, I was an administrative assistant at a high school. So like working with people really is gonna help you guys, because when you go out there, the people's not gonna look like you. They're not gonna have the same culture as you. So it's more so how you find that middle ground and actually work with people and get things done.
That's good. I'm glad you added that. And I'm glad you said one word, drama. So can you give us like One quick, y'all like, how y'all handle drama in the department? Y'all wanna know how that's handled, like in real life? Or, okay, so a couple people like it. So can you give us some examples? And I ain't gonna go to class, they talk about how messy people are on the job and all kinds of stuff, all right? So can you give us just a couple examples, and feel free, any other panelists, to jump in with an example of something that you had to handle in your department as an HIM leader that was drama. You ain't gotta call no names, okay? You ain't gotta call no names. But give us an example, and then how did you overcome that? Like, what did you have to do? You wanna go first?
This is just in my role now as a director, and my role is a lot different because we all work remote, right? So we never see each other. And so what happened is one of my employees sent a Google chat about another employee, but she sent it to the employee that she was talking about. And you can delete your messages, but she saw it before she deleted it and screenshotted it and sent it to me. And was basically like, you better get her. And we're all remote, so it's, she's not gonna go to the house, but hopefully not. But she was like, you better get her because I'm about to get her. And she is a rattler herself, so we know how we can get if need be. So I had to basically talk her off the ledge from sending an email, phone number, calling her, saying some harsh things. But after I talked the one person off the ledge, then I had to kick into my director role, and I had to do a verbal counseling with the employee that actually sent the message out, and just kind of, warn her that this is not how we conduct ourselves. So
that's good. And you handle that so lovely, so politely, so professional. All right. Anybody push out buttons before?
I want to say, I'm gonna refrain from talking about these situations. I got one of my former employees.
Okay, that's good. Turn the table or pass the baton.
But I can tell you how it's resolved, right? So it's almost like you wearing a investigative hat, right? So if something happens, employee come to you with a situation. All right, well now you gotta stop everything in your day and try to understand what's going on because you don't want this to continue on in the road of the department. All right, let me call you in the office, let me get your side of the story, let me call you in the department, let me get your side of the story. Guess who else you gotta call? HR, gotta get them involved and say, hey, this is what we got going on. Well, this is what you can do, they give you your options. HR don't really tell you what to do, but they give you your options. They help encourage you to say, okay, this is probably the best practice to do based on our policies and procedures. HR is always going to be your best friend. Also, sometimes they feel like they get in the way, but they're protecting you as an organization, and as a manager, you have to understand that you're representing the organization and not just you. You're not an employee in the board, but you are an employee. You're not a frontline staff, but now you're part of the management team, and you have a duty to protect the organization. So, so going through that, it's kind of like I feel like I'm being a cop investigating someone who committed a crime. Then you got to lay down the judgment, and sometimes the judgment, the employees may feel like it's not hard enough. But it's like, okay, well, this is the first occurrence, and this is the escalation pathway for disciplinary actions. So you have to work through all that, and you got to have thick skin to be able to do that. So for those that want to go into management, just know it's, come with the big pay, comes the big responsibility.
That's good. I like that.
Can I add something
Sure.
just to kind of on the flip side of everything? Oh, I'm sorry. Please introduce yourself. I'm Shatwania Williams. I am the interim acting interim assistant health chief at James A. VA Hospital in Tim. Now, my experience and journey is totally different from you guys. I didn't graduate from here. My daughter actually she graduated from this program in 2015. However, her graduating is what made me decide to go ahead and get my degree. And I did graduate, and I have my RHIT, but I have the AS degree from St. Petersburg College. With that being said, I started from, like y'all say, the bottom, and now I'm here. So I started off as a coder. I started off as outpatient coder. I trained myself, worked my way up to surgery coder, inpatient coder, CDI specialist, coding supervisor, and MRA specialist after I graduated with my AS degree. And so now I am the interim assistant health chief. With that being said, sometimes we can become part of the drama. It's not that we over and handling the drama, we can become part of the drama. And the reason I'm saying it is because, again, starting from the bottom and working my way up, the higher you go, people begin to change. So I'm gonna say, like this young lady behind me, when she said that when she went in and within like a short period of time, she ended up moving up. When you guys going to, wherever you're going to, land your feet to try to get your first job, just going up being cordial, like the gentleman said here on the end. Don't go up trying to make friends. You wanna go to like you want a mission. Okay, you're not one of the meeting friends, you're trying to go out to happy hour on Friday nights, all that stuff. Because when you start getting close to people and you start working your way up, people begin to change.
Yeah.
Things begin to happen. So if you know that you want to go in there and land a job so that you can learn as much as you can so you can climb your way to the top, do not go in there trying to make friends because you will become part of the drama. I just want to, throw that out there just so that
Here's one more little bit tidbit.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so this is more coming from the side of, recent graduate, when you're like fresh new in the department or your company, sometimes you do have to manage other people's reactions to things, especially when it comes to drama, because there'll be instances where maybe a certain coworker likes you better than other coworkers, so they try to loop you in on something. It's like, oh, I can't believe this is what XYZ said to me today. This is what they did yesterday, whatnot. You kind of want to manage that to make sure that you always say like a neutral green area, like in a good lighting with everybody. Kind of manage their reaction, say, oh, well, they might have had a bad day, like not taking sides or anything like that, but try to give it like a more positive view, make them kind of kill them with kindness, if that aspect, that makes sense. So that you're not really getting involved in any of the drama, you're kind of making the workspace a positive area, because if it goes negative for everybody, it goes negative for you as well. So, but you also keep yourself in a neutral area where you're not taking anybody's side because you don't know the whole story, so don't try to take anybody's side. But keeping yourself in a nice neutral area, keeping it positive goes a long way in certain situations.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kyrie. That's good. That's good.
One last thing.
Sure, go ahead.
To say that, to sum that up, what was told to me by a director that hired me, your job as a manager is not a job of a social worker. So remember that. So if you're in management, you're not a social worker. Your job is to manage. So if you got to lay down to him, you got to lay down to him. So they ain't gonna try to drag you into the social issue that they got going on. I got to do this, my kids, Okay, it's a certain level of understanding, but then at the end of the day, you're here to do a job. So just keep that in mind.
Good. Professionalism. Go ahead.
Can I also add this, especially for women in leadership? One of the things that I have learned in being in leadership for the past, I would say 10 years, is that if you are a woman who has a strong personality and you come into a new situation, you have a new team of staff, I have found that if your personality is very, very strong, that will be looked upon as negatively. And a lot of staff will challenge your expectations for them with work. But I would urge you to, stick to your guns, stay professional, document, and always know that, as the gentleman already said, that HR will become your friend, because sometimes they will go and, try to complain, or she's, overworking me. But if you stick to the position description, you hold them accountable, and you document, doesn't matter, your tone is okay, but just make sure you stay grounded and you stay always professional. Don't, tell one staff something different. You stay consistent across the board with how you supervise your team.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for adding that in. And any of our other folks who want to jump in and add anything in from your experience, feel free to do so at any point in time.
I have something to say pertaining to what Jared said in the beginning about and the young gentleman online, like something that you didn't know you had to have going into the work field. It's like managing people, and well, we know we have to manage staff, right? But managing your emotions and learning how to deal with different personalities. Because when you come in the room, like she said, we're African American women. They judge you by your hair, like what you have on, and you have to be more mindful on how you speak. I speak with my hands a lot, so I've learned in meetings I had to like put my hand or click a pen, because they take that as aggression. But I'm not a public speaker, so I'm like anxious. They want you to be the expert, so sometimes you don't know, so you're trying to think in a meeting. But just be mindful when you go in the workplace to just know your representation of all of us. I had a young lady that joined our team, and she was very loud, and I told her, I was like, hey, you're a representation of me and I'm a representation of you. So be mindful when you're in the meetings to tone it down a little bit. And she was like, oh no, you can't tell me what to do. I'm like, whatever. So one day someone came up to me, they was like, hey, are you such and such? I was like, see, here you go. But just be mindful when you go into the workplace, be grounded. HR is your best friend. Be fair, equitable. You know, everyone likes equity in the team. Be fair, say the same thing. When you go out with your teams, be sociable, like to where it's like, you're not best friends, but at the same time, learn how to work as a team. Because I'm from Miami, I'm an Islander, I'm African American, and my first job at Select, I was told that I was not a team player, that, you know, X, Y, and Z, but it's because from when I was raised, you stay to yourself. I'm an HIM, we're behind a locked door. You don't see anyone unless you're going out to get your charts, or flag charts, or have providers sign their charts, so they see you as the aggressor, but not that you're just working hard behind the scenes, you know, trying to get your job done. So I had to learn how to be more soft. I had to learn how to, oh, hey, how you doing today? Do you need anything? Or if I see a colleague having some issues, being like, let me help you, let me take this off your plate. So that was a challenge for me, learning how to be soft, learning how to, you know, just not be fake, but be mindful of how I come off, because it does get you far when you do take those things into action. It's all about, you said something earlier there, it's not what you know, it's about how you treat people and connections, because it truly is. So
That's perfect. A lot of what you're saying, did you all feel prepared, even for our panelists, did you all feel prepared for your roles, to learn all the stuff about handling people's attitudes, how to handle conflict and confrontation and issues in your department? Or is that something that you just kind of learned as you went? Like, did you wing it and figure it out as you go? What were your feelings on that? Did you feel prepared for that, or did you have to wing it? You want to, Tyree?
FAMU did prepare me for a lot of that. I think, you know, the way a lot of you are dressed wonderfully, and you look like I'm ready to hire you right now from your appearance. So I think we get that. A lot of schools, they don't come as prepared, right? So that part I felt prepared for. I felt like we have a different level of circumstances that you all are probably dealing with. Maybe you from Miami, Quincy, you may have worked part-time jobs, you may have to hustle, maybe you got families, children, I don't know what your circumstances are, but I'm sure you have something that you're working and passionate about. So I think that helps prepare you, right? Like you are invested in your own success for the future. Like it's a little bit more riding on you. And I know, I can assume that just because I know what you may have been dealing with as a student here at FAMU. So I think that also prepares me. I think the part that you have to go out and learn is just, like, one thing that we didn't really talk about in terms of trauma is that health information in every healthcare facility, they want us and they need us when they need us. But when they don't need us, we're like the forgotten bald-headed stepchild. And, you know, so that was a part of what I had to learn, was that, wow, my voice matters when we're in trouble, when TJC is about to come in, or when the revenue isn't coming in, or charts aren't going out, and Medicare denials are, you know, rolling in. That's when all of a sudden, all eyes on us. But then on a norm, we're not really seen or valued as much as like other departments. So that's the piece of the puzzle that I had to learn on my own, and I just went into every experience as a learner, right? I took a lot of notes. I had those phone calls with my mom, who was a nurse, or my husband, to help challenge the thinking and, you know, using your community so that you're not just like in your own head, right? So I'm sure that could be more of a situation now post-COVID. Like, you don't want to be in your own head telling yourself, making up narratives that may not be true. So use your community and use your people and your friends and your classmates. Jessica Dew, Donovan Williams, these are people who I graduated with, that I called, like, girl, what they saying? Have you heard about what's happening with Medicare, or did this change? And you know, we work together at the same facility. When I saw her name, I'm like, girl, what's up? What you doing? You know, she's at a different location, I'm here. So I use my community, and that filled in the gap for the pieces that I was missing.
That's good. Yeah, thank you for adding that. Tyree, you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, so I would say all the years I was up there in Tallahassee really prepared me for a lot of things, because the jobs you work, if you guys have jobs now, the jobs you work, although they may not seem like it now, but they do help prepare you for like more professional areas, because you will, like for me personally, I used to work as a RA at FAMU, I used to work at CS Pharmacy over there by Lake Ella, and honestly, you really learn how to deal with people, customers, co-workers, who when they walk through that door, they're already upset. Yeah, they met you, yeah, but they're already upset. You learn to work with personalities, you learn how to deal with these situations that you honestly had no idea what this situation was about before they walked through the door. And it will really help. And as long as you maintain those skills that you learned in the past, or how to interact with people, you guys will do great work. That's what I firmly believe. Now you do have to keep up with those skills. You can't just because you feel comfortable with it now. You do have to, keep socializing. Make sure you're checking yourself. I mean, don't get too much into your head and question everything you say. But make sure you question yourself and make sure you keep learning.
Okay, thank you, Tyree. All right. So, somebody? Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to add. Like a flip side of this conversation when it comes to drama, and that is, drama is a distraction. So I want to tell you, do not become distracted. If you play into the drama, you can miss your opportunities. So even though there may be drama, sometimes you can ignore drama and focus on the work. If you are in a staff level position, then master the work that is presented in front of you. So if your job is to analyze a patient record, you be the best person at analyzing that record. And you also pay attention. If there's a coding position that's open, or CDI, or if there is a goal where you want to go, where your passions and your interests lead you, chart the course. Know what it takes to get there and focus on that, because a lot of times if you are laser focused on where you're going, you won't notice the drama. You won't notice it, so don't let drama slow you down. Some people are comfortable in their positions. They work in the departments. Some people have been in the same cubicle for 20 years, 30 years, and they're not leaving that cubicle. So you can't pay attention to that. You have to stay focused on where you're going, learn what you need to learn, and be the best at what you do.
Good, that's good. All right, so that's good on the drama and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. We good on that? We've been satisfied in that area. Okay, Mr. Hayes, we're gonna turn to you. And apart from drama and all that, let's talk a little bit about rejection. Okay, because these people that start looking for their first jobs. We have some seniors in here and all that. So did you face any kind of rejection when you were applying for your first job? Or maybe even internships, but we kind of set it up for it, in the program. So I would say, when you were applying for your first jobs, did you face any kind of rejection? And if so, how did you push through that?
Constantly asking for feedback, and even coming back to, talking to Dr. Cooper and Dr. Burke, what are some of the things I can improve on? And I would say, not allowing it to, sour me, the rejection to sour me, but just using that as fuel, hey, what can I do? Even doing mock interviews, working on my, as he mentioned, people skills. So those are some of the things when I face rejection, man, because coming out, you don't have the experience, so you have to, you might have to start off small. So, after being rejected so many times, for some of those larger positions, man, just getting somewhere, just getting a small position, and just trying to be a good steward of that small position I had, and showing up every day, doing the right things, And as Tamara mentioned, keeping my head down is really focusing. But I would say with the rejections, man, really I allowed it to fuel me.
Ooh, that's good. Yes. All right, anybody else on the panel want to answer that question, or Tyree, anybody? Have you had experience? I'm gonna come right back to you, okay? Have you experienced rejection at all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, especially coming out and not having the experience. I was new to HIM, and so a lot of people would know, you need to have, you have the degree, but you don't have the experience. They go, they coincide, they go together, they have to work in tandem. And so that's why I started out at a mental health hospital as a lead HIM specialist. I think I barely made $30,000 a year. But like I said, it built me and it laid a foundation that further propelled me to where I am now. And so in turn, even though the rejection is always a blessing, always. So you take it and like he said, you let it build you, you use it as your stepping stones to move forward.
That's true. Yeah. And it stings at first, right? Like it's a little blow sometimes.
Because you think you got the degree, oh, I'm going to get any job I want. And no, that's not the reality.
And I would say one more thing, especially if you're going from like round to round of interviews and stuff like that, and you're on your third round, those rejections hurt.
It does. Tyree, you laugh, it sounds like you can speak to that. You want to speak to that?
I'll just say this, I'll say a little bit. I will say with rejection, I will say when it does happen, because it will happen, for being honest. Just keep your heads up, keep working hard. Because even if you got to that interview, if you got that first interview, that just shows that okay, you are somebody that they were interested in for whichever reason. Now, if you're going to, let's say if you're applying to a position inside internally in the company, how do you react after that rejection? People are watching. So keep your heads up, stay positive, keep working hard, keep honing your skills, because people are watching. They want to see how you handle rejection, things like that. And I'll be honest, if you're applying internally or you're applying to any other jobs, they could have just had other people in mind before they even posted the position, right? So not every time rejection is going to be specifically about you as an individual. Sometimes it's just circumstances that were outside of your control.
Yeah, that's good.
I'd like to add to that. Sure. So my experience with the state of Florida, I had to pivot from the traditional HIM role. And in that, but I was looking at state. And so in that, I applied, and it literally took me 5.5 months.
Wow.
And I say that because I applied for a position, and I, even though I knew I had the qualities and some of the qualifications, I'll say, and some of the skills, and the majority of the skills, I applied anyway, even though I saw some that I didn't have. I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it anyway. Because I have a majority of these, I got this. And so I had the interview, enjoyed the interview, they loved me. What they didn't say in the application process or online was it needed to be, I need to have accounting experience. And finance, I got it. But finance, or accounting rather, and I was like, okay. The director said, okay, well, we're looking for somebody with finance. You can do Excel, you can do SQL a little bit. I know it, I'm knowledgeable, but we need somebody in accounting. Okay. But I killed the interview because they called me back for another position. So they didn't look at me for that position. Well, thank you, we appreciate it. They called me back for another interview position. I forget what the position was at that time. I was just excited about that. And so I was like, all right, let's go. And even though they looked at me, they were still looking internally, which I was saying. But they gave me that opportunity. And they loved me then. I then met with State of Florida's chief director. I don't even know if he operates the whole DMS. I had a whole panelist interview with them. They enjoyed me, but whatever that position was that they were looking for, they gave it to that person. So that third round, I was like, all right, I'm about done with this. The state of Florida, maybe it's not meant to be. However, I still was confident in every position, every role, every interview. I prepared myself. for these interviews to make sure that I had, and I was answering the questions and I had what they were looking for, and I was confident in it, and I was authentic with them. And they offered me the position. I was like, all right, there's a lot going on with this current administration, and if you offer me this position, I want to be where I am, and there's a possibility that I won't be sustained in this current role with the removal of the DEI. And so they offered me that position, and they loved it. But they also had in the back of their mind where they wanted me to be, where they thought that I would be a great fit. And all I wanted me to do was get in the door. Get in the door, and that's the hardest part, getting in the door. And I got in the door, even if you take a step back or roll back, you get in the door, and what you're doing after that is working your tail off, excelling, showing them that you can do it, you have the skills, you have the confidence, you have all the education to do it. And so within maybe 4 months, I had transitioned into a different role. And so rejection is going to happen. I've interviewed online, you name it, I've done it. Rejection is going to happen. It's what you do afterwards. As long as you're preparing in advance, preparing for the sharpen your skills, making sure you're up on Power BI, Excel, all those things, it will come. Those positions will come. And don't just look in one geographical area. Be willing to expand and go beyond. Because if I get with the state floor, I can go all over Florida. And I'm okay with that. And so I love Tallahassee right here.
That's good. Thank you for adding that in. I just want to slip this in real quick. Y'all hear the noise outside, right? Yeah. Okay, so we want to talk a little louder to make sure everybody can hear us. I think they are working on the stairs, doing some repairs with the stairs. So that's what's going on out there. Nobody be alarmed. But we're going to have to talk a little louder, make sure everybody hears. That's all right? Yeah. Y'all don't mind using your lungs and things. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to this next question. Janice, I want you to jump in with this one first, okay? And then your peers can back you up, okay? So if you had to start over today as a student, as an HIM student, we're going to talk about 3 strategic moves. What 3 strategic moves would you make immediately to land your first job?
One strategic move, like you said, be open to move around. You have no ties at this moment. Another one, you gotta sell yourself.
Oh, how do you do that?
Because remember, you're students now, but that position, typically, just for myself and my role now, for any position that I have available, it's at least 50 candidates that I'm searching for. So make yourself the person that stands out before you get in the room. Your resume, your cover letter, your pre-interview conversations, all of those you want to make sure that you're on top of so that you can get, once you get in that interview, it's on. Third one.
So wait, let's back up. What was the first one?
The first one was be open to moving around.
Open mind, okay.
Open mind. Open and not moving around in the position. Be open-minded in general.
Okay.
Like you say, you're getting your foot in the door.
Good.
The second one is going to be to let your skills in your resumes and cover letters precede you in the room so that you can get to the top.
Okay, selling yourself.
Selling yourself. And then the third one, don't think about the pay, but think about the pay. Because again, you're still trying to get yourself, you're getting in the door. That, once you get in the door, then if you can sell yourself, then you can move around.
Okay, I like that. We're gonna act, I don't see no hand. Okay, all right.
Don't be afraid of investing in yourself. Like, and I don't mean that in a cheesy way. I mean, literal, like Dr. Cooper, Dr. Barnes, they getting y'all into internships, they doing the resume, quick stuff, but hire a career coach. Some of them are affordable that y'all get money, I know. Like you can invest in yourself, get you a coach that knows resumes, knows that stuff that can help help you put together your career story. And do it before you finish. Don't wait until you finish, because once you finish, now you're like antsy and desperate. Your mama like, all right, when my baby getting her first job, you know? Do it before you finish. So that sweet spot of like the last couple semesters of senior year, that's the time. Be open to investing in yourself financially, whether that's a career coach that can do mock interviews, like they said, with you. You can practice them in person as well as stuff online, because many of your job interviews will be online, and there is a sweet sauce to how to do it. You gotta have that nice background. You know, I don't know, figure out a way to make your background nice, but be open to financially investing in yourself. And I'm not saying you gotta break the bank, but there are career coaches out there. There are people who can help you with that. Okay, and do it before you finish. One last thing, get that RHIA before you finish if you can. I did it and I was so proud of myself, and I was like, I had a different story to tell when I'm walking across the stage and I've already got my RHIA. It's a game changer. Like, you're aeons ahead of the application pool. So you got UCF, you got FAMU, or all the hospitals, that's where they all coming from. And what can you do to help yourself be a little different? One of them could be already got that RHIA, right, before you finish. Those are tangible things that you can do. That's something you can actually start making a plan to do right now. A coach and getting that RHIA before you finish.
I like that. Those are good things. What? Okay.
So I'm not in HIIM. But I am a professor and I do the professional development classes. And so if I have some words of advice, do something that you're passionate about. They say you won't work a day in your life. That's a lie. You will work. You just won't mind doing it, right? You'll love what you're doing. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Always think ahead, right? And Stephen Covey, I don't know if you guys have read that. It's a great book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Get that book, right? That's part of the investment in yourself. Because what you want to do is start with the end in mind. You should already know where you're trying to end up in life to make those 6 figures. You shouldn't be trying to figure it out. You should already know the path, because that's where you're going, right? If I knew that path, I would have been a professor. Instead of going to the state and working in the mayor's office and then working nonprofit and then going into consulting, I would have been here already. Okay? So begin with the end in mind. And then tap into all these. You got a room full of bosses. There is no way I wouldn't be connected with all these people before they leave. Because bosses are giving you time that normally you should be paying for. I'll just do that to you.
I love it. Yes. All right. We got Professor Rodriguez. Did somebody put that? Okay, we're gonna go Professor Rodriguez, Jared Cotton, and then over here. Okay, in that order, please.
Okay, I have one thing I would like to add. How many of you all are working as you go through college right now? Let me see your hands if you are. Okay. How many of you are working in the field, in the HIM, Health Informatics or HIM? Okay, not too many. So many of you are working in an industry that is not Health Informatics or Health. Okay, that's me. That was my path as well. I worked at a grocery store. I worked at Winn-Dixie from the time I was 15 until the time I was 30 years old, okay? And I moved up there. But what I was able to do to go into my job at Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare as the HIM operations manager, because I was in management at Winn-Dixie. And I was able to make a parallel between the management that I was doing at a grocery store and how it related to the job. I read that job description and I said, okay, so you have to conduct audits of a medical record. Okay, I've never conducted an audit of a medical record, and some of the other candidates, maybe they have, I don't know. But what I did do was an asset protection audit. So when Dixie had a corporate office and they would send an auditor to make sure that you were following all the things
to protect their assets. Like make sure that their food doesn't spoil. Make sure that you know there's nothing expired on the shelves. Make sure that you're following regulations as it relates to like selling alcohol and tobacco. So those are standards, right? Jared talked about the Joint Commission, and the hospital have a lot of standards and a lot of regulations, and I was able to say I passed the asset protection audit with a 100% 3 times, so you know it's not a fluke, it's skill. And that convinced the hiring manager that I would be capable of managing audits for medical records. And so the point that I'm making is you don't have to start from scratch. Take a look at the things that you've done, correlate it for the hiring manager, make the connection for them. Don't make them have to work hard. You tell them how you can fill that role and how your past proves it. And then as it relates to medical records, you say, I've never worked in medical records before, but I have a degree from the Florida A&M University, health informatics and information management, and I have an RHIA certification. So that says that I will be able to, I am competent in this subject matter, and my past proves that I am capable. I have competence and capability. So don't start from the bottom if you don't have to. Start where you are.
That's good. That's awesome. All right, so 3 strategies, right? We're gonna go here and then we'll come over here.
What's the question?
Okay, so let's go back to the all right, if you had to start over as a student today, what 3 strategic moves would you make immediately to land your first job?
So I'm talking about one thing I should have done and one thing I did. The first thing is identify the people who are really serious in this program. There are some people that's not serious in this program. Could be sitting in this room, may not be in this room. But I say that because some people find this program by way of a byproduct of them not getting into nursing school, or them not doing what they want to do, so they say this is kind of a fallback plan. And I was one of those students. I went to go to nursing school, and I went and talked to Dr. Cooper. She convinced me to come to the program, and I have never looked back. So I'm grateful that I'm good. But identify those people who are serious in the program, preferably people that's in the class ahead of you, and stay connected with them to learn about their journey, right? And what this is a form of is a form of mentorship. As you get in your career, you want to find mentors, people that can help guide you through your career. They've already been there, they already have that experience, so they can say, okay, when you're going through something like this, because you may feel like something you've never faced before, they can help soften the blow and say, it's okay, just keep going. You know, this is how you handle that situation. So one, I would say, try to identify people that's like-minded, and one that's a class ahead of you. One, to learn about how to navigate through the program, but 2, as they enter the professional workforce, to learn about their experience so that you can kind of take that to heed. Second thing is serve in the Student Health Information Management Association. What that does is get you access at the state level, get you exposure to the state level. If you can attend state conferences, attend them. If you attend Hill Day, I know in Tallahassee most of you probably do that. But you connected with people that's like-minded in this profession throughout the state of Florida, and basically what she said, you can market yourself, right? So you're having the connection, you have the conversation. Tell me about your story. How did you start in HIM? And most of them may found their ways into HIM as a second profession, and some of them may be a primary profession. But learn about the stories and say, okay, you had this type of job. You kind of learn the journey, so you'll know that what you got ahead of you that you have to accomplish, in order to get to where you want to go. And I would say I don't have the third one, but that's the main 2 things. I would say try to be involved at the state level so you can get around people that's hiring managers. These people that in director roles that can hire. And if you show your case yourself, you have a good personality, and they continue to see you on a consistent basis, they may be more inclined to hire you, because again, it's not about what you know, it's.
All right, what we're gonna do, we have a question back here in the back, but I'm gonna come to her first, so hold that question real tight, okay?
I just want to add something the panelists mentioned that you should try to sell yourself. That's when you should do it, I think, in the interview. Like she mentioned, you know, in the interview they always ask, do you have any questions? Well, that's your opportunity to maybe say, well, no, I don't have any questions, but can I present something to you? And that is your opportunity to present like a special project you may have worked on in class, or if you have a job, you know,
at that present time, you can share with them this great idea that you had and it was implemented because it was your great idea. Things like that, give, the employer something to say, like, hey, this person is creative, let me go ahead and bring them on in. So think of something like that as well as, selling yourself.
I like that. That's good. That's a good spin on that because oftentimes that's some awkward time right there in those interviews, and people don't usually know how to handle that. So that's a good way to plug that in. Okay, we have a question. Thank you, Jeanette Rowe.
Just a quick question. Correspondence to what you said, Mr. Cotton. I know my sophomore year, we had management, principles of management, and I had Dr. Rozier. And one of the things that she said that really stuck with me was, yes, networking is important, but it's also to maintain those relationships when networking. Just not connecting with people, but actually feeding those relationships and maintaining those relationships. So my question to you is, how do you think we can stand out to mentors and to those networking opportunities so that they engage and continue to engage with us so that we get those opportunities and those networking opportunities to have internships and externships and possible job opportunities?
So you have a lot of curiosity. That's what I would say. Have a lot of curiosity. I was wondering, I did my research on this. Can you talk to me about this? So, and it's the curiosity that's aligned with what they do that they're passionate to talk to you about. So, and that's an easy conversation. So if you show that you're humble and I'm curious, I'm just hungry, I'm ambitious, right? So they'll continue to feed into you and they will actually tap into their network to try to help you out. But it's being persistent. Hey, I know you're not available, can you meet up for lunch, or can you set up a Zoom call, whatever the case may be, and to stay persistent at it and always come with new content, new ideas that you present. Hey, I was talking to my professor about this, or friends or classmates, this is a project that we got going on. How can you make that relatable to what you do in your real job? And give them a chance to kind of think through that and say, well, here's what I would do in that situation. So just having a strong level of curiosity about your profession and having that connection. Then you also may find something that's outside of profession. It may be something, a hobby that y'all may have in common, wherever the case may be. So then you can continue to drive that conversation related to that. So more so learn about the person. You connected based on a professional standpoint, but also trying to connect with that person outside of that, so that it's not more so you're my professional mentor, but you're also helping me out with life stuff.
Yeah, that's good. I'm curious. That's good. Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna open up. Just if anybody, did anybody have any questions for our panelists before? Okay. All right, Samaya.
My question, going back to drama, is how do you keep the environment friendly after an incident? Because people have attitudes, they come in like, I don't like this story, but how do you keep it neutral in the right?
Okay, you want to answer?
So coming from being a manager, sometimes my team or a team member may have a particular conflict with me, and I'll be recent. So I had a young lady that was not performing well. She just didn't possess the skill set, and when we recognized that, we shifted her duties. So in meeting with her to reassign her duties, I think she became offended. And I could definitely tell the difference after she was reassigned, but I still had to close out some of her existing duties. For me as a manager, I don't take nothing personal. This is my job, this is my bread and butter, so when I come here, I'm gonna be professional, I'm gonna be courteous. I still spoke to her, I still gave her the appropriate direction. I did not pay attention to her rolling the eyes or the snickering, or she would go back and tell other team members, she got a problem with me. Out of sight, out of mind, because at the end of the day, you work. I need you to get this work done. But good morning, how are you doing? Thank you for assisting with that assignment. Appreciate you.
So that's how you keep it friendly.
Yeah.
It's also about being emotionally intelligent, and you're speaking on that. And when you encounter individuals that you just don't mesh with, it's about you still rising above and seeing the bigger picture, your bigger picture. This isn't her career, this is your career, wherever you're going. And so whatever my bigger picture is, because you're gonna have it every day, all day, it's just what it is. And so seeing my bigger picture, I know that this is only for a moment. And okay, let me send some prayers up to the Lord, remove my enemies and keep it moving. and I just go on by my day. I go to do the best job I can do. They hired me for a position, a particular role. They hired me to do this, that, and the other. I'm going to do it. And so if you're in my way, I am not going to shun you, if you will. I am still going to show you with kindness, because this is my character. You're not going to dampen my mood because you have an attitude, because your position was shifted, you know, because you don't like me because of the color of my hair. I could care less. That has nothing to do with it. And like she said, don't take it personally. Once you do that, they win and they have control. They have control. And once they have control, it's a wrap.
Good, thank you. Thank you to the two who answered that. Thanks for the question. All right, you have a question that leads?
Yes. I have a question about adaptability of income graduates or people graduating now. Like new legislation that's always passing, and currently how it's kind of part of the job market, and different things that are coming left and right. How like new graduates, for example, AI, taking other people's jobs, and like with data analytics and things of that sort. How would you guys say we should? That's
beautiful. Anyone can take that question.
Learn how to build AI models.
Learn AI. And always be teachable, you know, always be willing to learn something new, even if it's foreign.
Tyreek, were you able to hear that question, Tyreek?
Yeah, I was also going to add on that, you know, you want to be able to be flexible with yourself sometimes. Sometimes the goal is just to take a foot in the door. Sometimes you may apply and get in a position that you weren't normally seeking out, or that was the first position you seek out. But sometimes it's better to get your foot in the door, especially with entry-level positions. If you try to get entry-level positions, a lot of if we're talking about the things that are going on in the world right now, a lot of entry-level positions are not actually opening up as much, so maybe you have to go ahead and apply to a job that's like the next step up. That's not really an entry-level position, and maybe a little bit more. Maybe you don't qualify for everything in the job description, but you still want to try and just be flexible with what jobs you do apply for. I mean, don't apply to something that's not going to help you in your career, but you know, be flexible with things that may help you, that may help you out in the future.
That's good, Terry. Thank you. Did anybody else on the panel want to jump in for that question? On how they can stay adaptable?
And I would just say keep sharpening your skills and just researching, seeing what's the latest and greatest, technology, as you mentioned, just with the adaptation of AI and chat boxes and stuff like that. So just continue to do the research.
That's good.
When y'all graduate, you're not done learning.
Right.
So just keep that in mind, especially if you come get your RHA, you want to get multiple certifications. You always learn, and that's how you stay sharp, like you said, on your skills. Just always remain a student, even at the professional level. Be the studious one, and people are always going to come to you for some insight or something. So that makes you valuable to them. So.
Okay. I actually had a question about that certification. So, to get to where you guys are now, do you guys get master's degrees? When you certify it, like what steps do you take to get to where you are?
So I answered that question first. So when I got my first job, I did not get my RHIA. I didn't get my RHIA until 2 years after graduation. And that was I can't tell you why, but well, I can tell you why, because they wanted me to apply for a manager job, and I needed the RHIA. And really, I got my first job in HIM based off a relationship, off an internship. I know there's a question on internship, but on my internship, I interned in the HIM department, and I did all I can do, and I said, I want to do more. And I went to go see Tamara over there in IT, and she took me around the whole IT department to meet everybody. And when they was hiring for a job, the people didn't interview. So I would say how I got here is based off of people, relationship skills, and just being nice to people, showing that you're a sponge. Then that's when I got my RHIA, then I went back and got my MBA when I was in leadership. So it could go either way, right? So it depends on what type of exposure you have, how hungry you are to just learn stuff without having a certification. The certification helps. I know now you can get your certification before you graduate, but yeah, that's what I would say.
That's good. I would love for everybody to answer that question because I think that's a experience for everyone to learn about. So your question, do you mind asking your question again for the next panel?
Based as to get to where you are now, what certification, go to a higher education, and what did you do to get to where you are now?
Okay, so for me, just as I was graduating, I got my RHIA. So I mean, definitely I feel like that made me a stronger candidate, you know, compared to maybe others who was graduating at the same time. And I would say I did an internship, and from that internship I had got a small role, HIM specialist role, and then just kind of, you know, did the best I could, and really, you know, they started to take interest and say, hey, I think you're a great fit for the, it was a program, at the time it was the manager and training program, which is the LEADS program now. So I was able to transition to that program, and while I was in that program, worked to get my MBA, just kind of kept running with that opportunity.
What about you, Denise?
For me, I got my RHIA now. The first time I took my exam, I did not pass. And, you know, that's part of the rejection that we kind of talked about, but I was hungry for what I knew that I wanted to do. So it took me a little while to, you know, cry my tears, and then I had to get back to studying. And so I did get my RHIA. And then went from there, I did get my MBA. Now, to be honest, I probably don't see a need for me for an MBA because I have an RHIA and I'm strictly HIM. I think certifications and experience go a lot further to me in my role than getting my master's, but that was a personal goal for me that I wanted to do. So, but again, certifications definitely help, and definitely help with moving forward while graduating.
Okay, perfect. All right, what about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. So when I graduated, I already had my RHIA. I didn't cry at the RHI, but I cried in her office when I couldn't pass the mock. That mock exam that y'all do takes serious. It's harder than the real test. And so that's where I learned that I gotta keep going. But I got my RHIA, graduated in the program that Lindsay speaks of, the leadership program. I also did that for a year, and that really put me in a place to be a director, what I am now. But now the program would accept you without the RHIA. Now it's mandatory. A lot of places that I applied to, that was the first question. Do you have your RHIA? No, it's not the end all be all, but if you can get that before you leave your campus, you are 10 steps ahead of your counterpart, always.
I'm gonna go to Tyreek so he can give his experience, and then I think I saw you, Gabby, and Tim. Okay, Tyreek, what the question was, what did you do, what kind of certifications, education did you do or obtain rather to get to where you are right now?
So during my time, when I first started my internship, I heard from, I did a lot of networking. It's actually a little bit of a joke because when I did my internship, my current company was, a big part of it was build your network. So you talk to execs, you talk to directors, and I learned from one of the directors that pretty much everybody in our hospital system has access to epic training materials, epic learning materials. So I went ahead and just started, because everybody had access to it, I went ahead and logged into what's called Epic User Web, and I started gaining proficiencies in different applications in Epic. That really helped show that, okay, I was hungry to learn different applications and whatnot. Now, I will say that I am now studying for my RHIA, even though I was ready to pick it when I first graduated. Things happened. I felt it was more important for me to get these Epic applications and proficiencies under my belt. But now I'm going back to study, now I'm back to study my RHIA. So I do highly recommend that you guys do it as soon as possible, as early as possible. That's always the best answer. But yeah, I was able to get different Epic applications, different proficiencies to look for in patient setting. So anything from pharmacy to nursing to infection prevention, just a bunch of different applications. And I also did a lot of LinkedIn learning class. This to help hone my soft skills, Lean Six Sigma. Although I'll be honest, not a lot of people, sometimes people who work for you don't understand what Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma is. they do see the value of it once you explain to them. So even when you guys are getting these certifications and credentialing, make sure you're still able to sell these credentialings as something of value, okay? Sometimes people won't understand what RHIA is. Sometimes they don't really know what it is. They heard it before, they see it on people's title, but they don't really understand the way it codes and carries. So just make sure you're able to sell these certifications that you guys can get as well.
Thank you, Tyree. Okay, Gabby, you want to join in on that?
Yeah, so RHIA, I thought of it as management, like HIM, like some sort of management. So if you want to do management, you need that RHIA, that's what they're looking for. And so you know, you guys know I started off specialist, 4 months, the manager, then moved to a larger manage multiple locations and things like that. So remember, this is like healthcare. So we're, you know, you're around physicians and nurses. So I started to fall in love with physician, like engagement. And so getting them to sign their charts and being the only one who wield that power, like I will suspend you. Don't sign these charts. So I fell in love with that. And so I was like, if I want to have leadership over physicians, I need my master's in health admin. And so that's the route I went. But when you guys work, you're going to find your look. I think of HIM as an umbrella. You're going to find your niche. Some people do coding, be the best coder. That's a whole nother CCS. You know, that's a whole nother game. You might do inpatient coding or outpatient coding, CPT, physician practice. You might do compliance and privacy. You might be the one laying down the law. You might work in the mental health area. You might do ethic and analysts and the data side. So you'll find your place under the umbrella. But for me, I love the like physician engagement and leadership. So I went Masters of Health Admin. And then with that, I kind of was able to go into like healthcare operations. And so my role, actually, HIM it was my starting point, but it kind of took me outside of the HIM department. But I'm like influencing just the delivery of overall healthcare. And so currently today I have my consulting firm and we make 6 figures and we work with independent practices and health departments and all kind of people, you know, helping them with operations and outpatient coding and things like that. But you're gonna find, once you start working, pay attention to the thing that like lights you up or makes you really, really excited. It could be coding, it could be the health ops. You might wanna run a hospital. You know, I used to have that dream. I wanna be the hospital admin, so I needed that MHA or maybe like the MBA to do that. And so that coupled with my RHIA, which will always just be kind of like my foundation. And it is something you have to explain. Like you don't gotta explain it to other HIM folks, but you'll have to explain it to the CEOs and the physicians. They'll be like, what is this? What is this thing? You know, but once you say it and you use those buzzwords like privacy, security, protected PHI, high tech, APA, like you use those terms and you actually know what you're talking about, people are going to trust you immediately. So I went RHIA, masters, and then physician engagement and health operations.
Okay, good. That's good. Professor Rodriguez, you want to share your journey a little bit or how you got to where you are with credentials, and then we're gonna wrap it on up.
Yeah, we're actually after off the stage.
That's okay.
Okay.
We're wrapping it up.
Well, I just wanted to say that when I got my interview for my first position in HIM, it was based off of a relationship with my intern preceptor. She actually convinced the hiring manager to give me a shot and give me an interview. She eventually told me the only reason she interviewed me was as a favor to my preceptor, and she didn't think that I could do it because I was young and I had never worked at HIM and so forth. I had the interview. She wanted to hire me. My RHIA exam was scheduled before my interview, but it was 2 weeks away. And they ended up making the offer to me, but it was contingent upon me passing the RHIA. So that added an extra level of pressure. It's already pressure to take the exam. So imagine having a position and you've been extended, you've been offered the position, but you know, it does have that contingency. You have to pass that exam. So credentials matter in the area. So if you're gonna work in, like she said, in leadership or in management within the HIM department, then the RHIA is gonna be mandatory. A lot of times it's written into the list of requirements, and human resources are going to enforce that. If you don't have the minimum qualifications of that position, then you know they can't hire you into it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Go ahead. Yeah, not only just hire you, like once you get hired, about the continuing education thing, you have to, you good for a 2-year window, right? So HR will reach out to you, hey, Mr. Cotton, license is expiring, you got a new updated certificate. So like, you gotta stay on your stuff to make sure you got your CEUs, and if not, you know, then they could jeopardize your job that required certification. So HR does keep track of that and wants to keep updated stuff on file.
For sure. Absolutely. Y'all enjoyed that panel session? We're gonna keep it going for all of our panelists. Lamb. And then we got Tyreek Anderson. But thank y'all so much, and also for our panelists who were serving as unofficial panelists. In the audience, we thank you all as well for contributing to the conversation. So we are going to close out this panel session. However, today is not closed out yet. All right, we got a whole other panel with new people, new professionals coming up at 1:30. All right. So right now we are looking at 12:08. And lunch is almost prepared for us, so we're scheduled to eat like right around 12:30. This gap between 12:08 and 12:30, utilize that time to mingle and mix with our professionals who are here and ask questions, get contact information, all the notes and the tips that they gave y'all. Do that right now, okay? All right, thank y'all so much.